Hi there, it's Donna from Taffy Crafting, and thank you very much for choosing to play this video. I hope that you become inspired by what I'm showing you today. And today I'm making this card. So it is kind of like a card that way, but this bit folds back on itself, and we've got some kind of geometric bits going on here, some squares, some circles, rectangles, so it just adds a bit of interest on there. I'm using the Sweet Symmetry designer series paper and Peaceful Moments stamp set. Peaceful Moments will carry over into the new catalogue, which goes live on the 3rd of May, but the Sweet Symmetry DSP isn't. We have a fresh set of DSP every year, and also in our mini catalogues. So that's kind of what we're looking at with those, like that. And then we have these coordinating colours on the back. So a lovely set of DSP if you like things that are floral, but also you've just got, there is that symmetry in there, which is really interesting to look at, and also lots of different colours. So that is, if you're watching this video as it's gone out, just to be aware that 2nd of May 2022 is the last time that you can buy that. I'll leave the links to all of the products that I've used in this project in my blog post, and the blog post, you'll see a link to that in the description bar below. So it's quite straightforward to put together, really nothing difficult. What I find the best thing to do is to prep everything first. So let me show you what I've got to make this card. I've gone slightly different here. I thought that was a bit too plain, so I've just changed it very slightly for this next for this card that I'm going to make. So here are my pieces. I've pre-prepared these. So this piece measures 10 inches by 7 inches, and it is scored at, if you have that in your scoring tool, you score at 2.5 inches and by 5 inches. You then need 2 pieces of DSP. Now I've been very careful to cut these. I started off by taking some DSP that measured 5 inches by 6 7/8, and then what I did is I then cut it at 1 3/8 and cut it again at 1 3/8, and then what we get are 2 bits of paper that match, but then what we're going to do is separate them on our card. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So it's important to keep those bits together if you're going to match it up. You don't have to. You absolutely don't have to. It's just an extra little bit of interest there on the card. I've then got 2 pieces of Night of Navy. I didn't say this is Night of Navy, but you can really use any coordinating cardstock that you like. This is, oh, I can't remember. No, that's Flirty Flamingo by the look of it. So you could use Flirty Flamingo card. I've got 2 pieces of card here. These measure 2 inches by 2 inches, and I've got 2 of those. And then I've decided to go with the reverse of these. I wasn't going to, but actually I thought they coordinated nicely. So I've got 2 pieces of those. Now, whatever DSP that you're using, bear in mind that we're going to have that in that shape. If you've got direction on this, then you need to be careful of that. So this would really work with something that has no direction in it. And these measure, what do these measure? 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. And we're just going to glue those down like that, but not just yet. I've also got a piece of very vanilla card. This measures 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and that's going to sit in the middle of the card, or in the inside of the card rather, sorry, and we're going to decorate that before it gets stuck in. What's also going to decorate the inside of that card is a strip of paper that measures 3/4 of an inch by 6 5/8. All of the measurements are on my blog, but if you want to follow along writing them down, I like to when I'm watching YouTube tutorials, then please do. I'll say the measurements again before as I pull out each piece. And then I've used the layering circle dies. Now, you don't have to use circles. This would work very well with squares again, if you wanted to have a bigger square in the middle and turn it on its, turn it 45 degrees. would look just as good. I wanted the circle in there just to give a break. Remember as well that we also have the heart punches. I do believe they are carrying through to the next catalogue, and you could put the heart punches in the middle there as well. You'd probably have to make your squares a bit bigger because they might not fit, but you can really play about with shapes on this. You could put a rectangle in the middle there. You could put another big square. It's just entirely up to you. So using the layering circle dies, I took a scallop die and did that in Night of Navy. Then with a straight edge circle that's slightly smaller than that one, I then took that yellow DSP and cut a circle out of it. And then a piece of Very Vanilla, and again with a smaller scallop circle, we're going to put that in there like that, and I'll stamp that in a moment. And I'll probably stick that together with some mini stamping dimensionals. So they're all the pieces that we need. Let's start off with our main card base, and as I said, this measures 10 inches by 7 inches and is scored at 2.5 inches and at 5 inches. So I'm going to get my bone folder, and I'm going to start off by folding that in half like that and giving it a good burnish. And the key to these fold cards, non-standard fold cards, is really good burnishing and accurate scoring. So be as accurate as you can, just taking your time to make sure that you've got them on the right measurement. Now this bit here, so this is the front of the card, this will fold back. Now I'm not going to burnish it here because it leaves a line on here. So just bring that outwards and then burnish that one. Really good burnish on that. Because what we want is for that to sit as flat as possible. And by the time we've got our shapes on there, it will sit a bit flatter. But the better it's burnished, the flatter it will sit. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get those 2 rectangles of DSP. Again, these measured 2 3/8 by 6 7/8. And they're going to sit on there like that. And hopefully you can see that we've still got the pattern. It's just separated by a border of blue. I love that effect. And if you have, something that's a nice picture on there, that can look really nice. So I'm just going to glue these down. I'm using liquid glue. If you watch me regularly, you hear me say this all the time. You must get sick of hearing it, but what does it do? It gives me a bit of extra wiggle room. It just gives you time with that glue being wet. It just gives you time to get it into the right position. Only a little bit of time, mind you. It does set really quickly. And then I also do, once it's set, I then do that, and it just disperses the glue, and you don't see any of those glue lines underneath. If you're super confident with sticking things down, you might want to use the what I call dispenser glues. I never use them, so I don't know what they're called. And I'm in awe of people when I watch them on YouTube and they just go and then stick it down. It's like, how did you get that in place? First time. Because once it's on, that's it. You can't move it. So that's the start of our card. So the next thing I'm going to do is work on the inside. So that's the piece of Very Vanilla that measures, it measures 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. I'm trying to remember all these measurements. Actually, it's not. It's 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. I wanted it to have a slightly bigger border all the way around. Now, before I stick this down, I'm going to take the Peaceful Moments stamp set, and I'm going to take this sentiment, wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. This is a birthday card, but this can be any sentiment of card. And I've got my Night of Navy ink, which really needs re-inking. Oh, sorry, that's me tapping the stamp and it's making the camera shake. It does need re-inking, this ink pad. Or I don't get on very well with re-inkers, so I'll probably just buy a new stamp pad. And I'm going to put that in the middle. Now the reason I do this before I stick it into the middle of the card is that if the stamping goes wrong, I can then just flip the card and do it again. So let's get that down there. See, it's a little bit on the light side, which is fine, but could do with a bit more ink in there. And then I'm going to stick that. So remember that measured 3/4 of an inch by 6 3/8, and I'm just going to stick that. That's a really good technique to use on the inside of your cards. If you're not stamping, putting more stamping on the inside, and you wanted to use up some DSP, that's a good way of coordinating that to the front of your card. So we'll stick that down. Now, those of you that watch me regularly will know that I've not been around on YouTube for a good couple of months, and I've really missed it, but just pressures of work have meant that it's just not been time to get crafting. But I'm hoping that the workload, once I go back to work after Easter, will start to diminish a little bit. We'll see. I always say these things and it just gets worse. I'm going to put that to one side. I just want that to dry off, and then I'll stick it into the middle of the card. While we're waiting for that to dry, I'm just going to prep these two bits, and that is just simply sticking and laying it down on the card. So the card pieces were 2 inches square, and the DSP pieces were 1 7/8 of an inch square. I'd love to know if you craft along with me. I do if I'm watching YouTube tutorials. Just the other day I switched on Connie Stewart. She was doing a pop-up card. That's what I put on my YouTube channel the other day, my version of her pop-up card. And I crafted along with her. And it's just a case of pressing pause every now and again to do the next stage. I'd love to know if you do that with me. And what you think about perhaps if I did some live crafting and you can live craft with me. What do we think about that? A bit scary for me. Right, let's put those to one side. Now I've got my circles. So what I'm going to do is stick that one onto there just with glue. And again, that wet glue just enables us to just move it until we're happy with where it is. Let's just put that to one side. Now this I'm going to stamp using the Happy Birthday stamp that's in the Peaceful Moments stamp set. So this has got to go on first time. What I would normally do is stamp the card and then put the die over it and run it through the machine. I didn't this time. So fingers crossed it doesn't go wrong. So just ink up my stamp. Let's check I've got that's the right side. That's good. And then this I'm going to stick onto the other circles using mini stamping dimensionals. Now again, people that regularly watch me know that I love a mini stamping dimensional, don't I? Almost every project has to have some sort of dimensionals on it. So let's those on. So yeah, I've been thinking about doing some YouTube lives for a long time, way over a year. I set myself little goals each year as to what I want to do, and always at the top of that list is do a YouTube live, and I haven't done it yet. I watch other crafters do it and they're just amazing at it. It all just becomes a bit too scary. Right, I'm just going to pop that on there like that. So that just gives that some height and a bit of dimension. And what I'm going to do for the other card, I put some pearls on there. For this card, I'm just going to go a little bit more blingy, and I'm just going to put those on there like that. And we are now ready to assemble our card. So there's the card base back. We're going to put that on there like that. Lots going on this card with this pattern. I just think it makes it look super busy, loads to look at, but not too busy. With the darker colour DSP in this collection, you could then team that up perhaps with a lighter card base. Just want to smooth that down on the other side of this. I don't want to risk marking that light card. Put that on there like that. Now I'm going to just flip that over like that. What I want to do is stick these on here at the top and the bottom of that. So we're going to put some glue on just this side of each of these, and then we're going to pop that on there like that. So what I did with these, rather than guessing it, because you could end up with glue just all over the place, is I got a ruler and just not too hard at all, just very lightly draw a line which just halves each of those. And then I'm just going to put glue on that half and then just stick that on there like that. This is really where the liquid glue comes into its own. So don't go right up to the line because it will smoosh a little bit. So I'm just going to line the top up, that point with the top of the DSP, and there again with the edge of the DSP. I'm hoping you can see that. And then I'm going to do the same with this one, but I'm going to line it up just at the bottom. I really thought with having everything pre-prepared, I could get this video done within 15 minutes, and that's not happened. But I suppose there is quite a lot going on in this card. So line that up there, line it up there, and then we're ready to put this on. Now this I want to put onto my card using mini stamping dimensionals. So I'm going to put one, not quite at the, oh yeah, we could at the top, at the bottom, and then just a couple in here. So you could have a bit of an idea as to where it is. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a pencil mark behind it so I know roughly where I'm going. This will then give this just a little bit of height. It will just lift it off the card a bit, so that it just makes it a bit more interesting. Let's just get these backs off and then we are good to go. And I've got two of these, and I'm actually going to put them on my Facebook page, put them on my blog, and then I think I'm going to put them on Etsy and see if I can sell them. So you just want to get that in the middle, like that. Just flip it all round. That's what it looks like when it's open. So it still looks quite neat there, I think. I think I did quite a good job of getting that in the middle. Not very good at eyeballing things. And there we have it. I don't know what you want to call this card. To me, it's just, you know, I wanted to get that in the middle there so that the circle covered that up. It looks nice at the front there. And then when you open it up, you've got just lots to look at on that. I think that would look lovely on any shelf or mantelpiece as a birthday card. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Come and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. And I look forward to seeing you all again really soon. Bye-bye.